It's Douglas Coleman.
Hey, we are finally here. Sorry for the delay, folks. We were having some technical problems with Skype, and I don't know, but we seem to be, at least two of us are here. We're waiting on Dave Martinez. He has not called in yet. He's supposed to be our guest today, and I hope he didn't forget to call in or forget that he's going to be on the show. But in the meantime, we'll just talk about something else. Let me get my co-host out here. There's Dave. Okay, just in time. Let me get my co-host out here. He's the effervescent, phosphorescent, the always inscrutable Mr. John Morgan. How are you,
Douglas?
John?
Hi, Douglas. Hi, everybody.
Good. Well, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad we got that technical problem straightened out. I guess we're all here now. This is the beauty of live radio, is that anything can happen, and you never know what's going to happen, but we just try to roll with the punches, I guess. I was going to ask you, John, how's the weather in Las Vegas? But I know how the weather is in Las Vegas, so I'm just going to ask a different question. Is it like 110 today?
Yes.
Okay. So for those of you who don't live in the United States and aren't on the Fahrenheit system, 110 is about 43 degrees Celsius, so it's still very hot. It's damn hot. Welcome to the second installment of the Douglas Coleman Show, featuring musicians named Martinez. On our first show, we had singer-songwriter Jared Martinez, who was a really nice guy and a very talented singer-songwriter. And today's show, we have yet another musician named Martinez, singer-songwriter. So he is currently number one on the alternative artist on Reverb Nation in Corpus Christi, Texas. Music started at a young age for him when he was influenced by his father, a multi-instrumentalist. Early influences were Grand Funk, Railroad, Kiss, Steve Miller Band, and Led Zeppelin, which led him to trying his hand at songwriting on his first guitar. During his early college years, he recorded his first demos in a studio put together by friend Robert Davis. With encouragement from friends Eduardo Garza and Dave Navarrete, he ventured into the local music scene, sharing his songs at area open mic nights while continuing his education. Please welcome David Martinez. Hi, Dave.
How's it going?
Good. I'm glad you made it. I was getting a little bit worried that you weren't going to show up.
Well,
you didn't forget, obviously.
This Skype thing, I tell you, I always have to test it out, but it's working today, so I'm not having any problems.
Well, we were having a lot of problems just before you got here. I don't know. For some reason, Chad couldn't hook us all together, and so it might not have all been on your end. But anyways, we're all finally here. First off, I know we've lost some time, so I don't know if we're going to get to all three of your songs.
That's
we
fine.
might only be able to do two, but I got a lot of things I wanted to talk with you about. First of all, this is actually the first time that we've ever talked. I was hoping to get a hold of you before the show, but I know you're a very busy guy. You've been working and doing all kinds of things, which I actually really admire, working musicians who are out there doing it. One of the places that you're playing at the moment is the Schlitterbahn Water Park. Is that correct?
Yeah, I've done one show with them, and I'm doing another one, and the program director is putting together a tour with some big country, Texas country and Texas music names. So, and he definitely wants me to be a part of it. They have 4 water parks here in Texas and 1 in Kansas City, and that's basically what the tour is going to consist of us going around and spreading the music to these water parks. And all these water parks have like cool little restaurant areas, patio areas with stages and things like that. So they're really getting involved in the music business, with singer-songwriters every weekend and doing all kinds of things like that.
Well, that was one of the things I was going to ask you because I don't know if you've seen the movie A Mighty Wind, but there was a scene in that where this band is playing at what's that place called? Magic Mountain or Six Flags or one of those places. And they're just like outside in front of the roller coaster, and nobody can hear them because the roller coaster is so loud. And it's kind of a funny scene. But so I thought I had this picture in my mind of you with your band like at the bottom of the water slide, getting splashed every time people come down, getting your amps all wet.
Well, the cool thing about this place is that everything's separate from the water, so, but it was funny. I heard John Mayer say this one time. He goes, I remember when I used to play coffee shops and I used to have to sing over the coffee machine when they were doing espresso because all you hear is, and he'd be playing. Kind of reminds me of that.
Right. There's a scene in Ishtar, too, where they're playing and he's doing this really, heavy ballad, and it's like the peak moment. And somebody right behind him in the kitchen just drops like 25 plates on the ground, and they just smash everywhere. And it just completely spoils the moment of the music of the particular song. But I suppose if you've got a stage and stuff, that's probably a lot better for you. What's the biggest venue you've ever played at this point?
It just the biggest venue that I've ever done. Early on, it was the KLRU Studios in Austin. That was a national battle of the bands that they had. That was back in 2009, and we were one of 4 bands from Texas, and they had 2 regional spots. And KLRU Studios is a legendary place. It's not open anymore, but that's where they filmed Austin City Limits for almost 40 years, and I think if you watch I call it Lost Highway, Sonic Highway from the Foo Fighters, when they went to Austin, they recorded a song in that same place, and so that was probably one of the bigger ones we've done. But we've done a lot of shows, with local artists here in town, and I mean I played the House of Blues in Dallas. That was a pretty cool one, and I've done South by Southwest. South by Southwest are the bigger shows because those you just never know who's going to show up, and you always have a good crowd of people out there, and that's not just one particular venue. But if I had to go with one, it would be KLRU in Austin. And I also mentioned the other night that I usually have my bigger shows here in Corpus Christi at music venue, Executive Surf Club. We usually get together with a couple other artists, and we usually pack the house. So we.
How many people are you talking about that you're playing for? What's the audience size?
We get about 200-300 people when we do a show at the Executive Surf Club. Other shows vary, but we do get some people out. So word is starting to get around too. So
Cindy wanted.
I did band together.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I just was going to say, Cindy wanted me to ask you about your hair. Well, what's up with your hair? Did you do something strange to it?
No, it's just long. I mean, it's. I never intended for my hair to be my calling card, but it's just that seems to be what everybody knows me for now. Is the hair, and it's a very interesting phenomenon. But so it's kind of.
It's not green or anything, right?
No. It's natural color. Hasn't gone gray yet, thank God. But
well, how old are you, Dave?
41.
Really? Wow, you look good. I was going to guess 31, actually, from your pictures.
Yeah.
41. Well, okay. I mean, I started to go gray when I was about 40, so it could be any minute now.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you one question about recording, and then we should probably play a song.
Okay.
But when you do your recording, when you go into the studio to record, do you record the old-fashioned way, or do you use a computerized rhythm track as your bass, and then go from there and build on top of it?
No, we record. We do use computers because analog equipment. I would rather record on the analog tape, but it's very expensive, and I just don't have the means this day. But I will, if I ever get to that level, I will record on analog. But what we do, the way we do it, is all the instrumentation is real. We play. My first solo record, when I've done both my records with Leroy Miller, and we kind of do it the Jeff Lynne way. We basically do a scratch track. I go in and play the song. We take the song and we chart it out, make it precise, and then we record a scratch track, and then we build on the bass and the drums from there, and then we do the guitars, and then we sing, and then we just start adding stuff like we can add stuff from keyboard to mandolin to percussion, and we just to hand clapping. We do stuff like
Right.
that. So that's how we build it. Now on the last album, me and Leroy were at a real tight budget, so me and him played all the instruments on the record. So I handled my guitars and my vocals, and he played bass, drums and all that stuff. So we were able to get some good stuff going. So we were able to do it like that. So that we don't use any electronics stuff like that, or we just do it the old fashioned way. I mean, I like the way, I would love to do a record like Tom Petty would do, like all the bands would do when they go in the studio and play live, and then they would do their overdubs and things at the end. But that'll happen one day, I can guarantee it.
Yeah, nobody records like that at all anymore. I mean, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, in the old days, they would do just that, and it was a much better feeling because you actually played together, rather than everybody playing separately in a little room somewhere, or coming in on different days. You go in on Monday and your drummer comes in on Thursday. But
I saw the Tom Petty Running Down a Dream, and the way he did it live band every time. And then when Jeff Lynne produced Tom Petty back in the 90s, Jeff Lynne from the ELO, he liked doing it the way we did it. That's the way he did it. He did it separate instruments. I mean, it's not bad. It's not a bad thing, but I would love, one of the things is that's why I think a lot of the records in the 70s, 60s, and 70s just sounded great, because they went in and played together,
Right. Oh, exactly. Exactly true.
And
in fact, Elton John's first album was recorded live, completely live. And I don't think they did many overdubs on it at all, except maybe some synthesizer or string sounds or something on it. But, well, speaking of which, we've got 3 songs, but I doubt we're going to get to them all. So which one do you want to play? We got Hey Mary, What You Need, Where Could I Go?
Well, you know what? We should start out with Hey Mary, because that one's the one that's the one that everybody always asks for. So it's...
All right, tell us about that song.
Well, I came up with the idea back in 2007 when I was recording the first record. I recorded my album right there on Hollywood Boulevard in Cahuenga at Leroy's studio. And one of the things is you have to pay for parking out there, so I got a monthly pass, and my parking spot was right next to a Greyhound terminal. And believe it or not, it's just like the movies. People would come from all walks of life and take the bus to L.A., and they're going to make it big. And I would talk to some of these people, and it would just kind of throw me for a loop. And I think I was talking to one young lady, and I wrote in my book, "Hey Mary, gonna be okay? You took a bus from Alabama to L.A." And it was a very simple song, and I always thought I had to complicate it, and things like that. And Leroy goes, "No," he goes, "Let's make it a story, and let's do it like Lou Reed." And he goes, it just flabbergasted me, because I was listening to Walk on the Wild Side and some other Lou Reed numbers on the plane, and I was like, man, this guy had some of the simplest songs, but his lyrics were just, that was my first challenge. That's how I came up with, I had to, really make we had to make a storyboard and put it out there, and then make it like a real Hollywood, life story, because, Hollywood's undefeated. It's never lost.
Well, true enough. Okay, here's Dave Martinez and Hey Mary.
So She always felt out of place, so she packed her dreams in her old suitcase. As she walked out the front door, the life she knew would be no more. Like a cyclone, out of control, she took a step into the unknown. Hey, Mary ran away today. She took a bus from Alabama all the way to LA. She was a small town girl with a big city dream, and nothing else mattered, so it seemed. Hey, Mary, that's the price to pay. What's she gonna owe on Judgment Day? It's hard to get it back when she thrown it all away. Magic's trick was selling flesh, and what Mary had was something fresh, till it turned her out to a John named Phil, who locked her up in his house on the hill. This fairy tale had yet to discover. You can't always judge a book by its cover. Final chapter in this tragic story, she caught him in bed with a teenage boy. Hey, Mary ran away today. She took a bus from Alabama all the way to LA. She was a small town girl with a big city dream, and nothing else mattered, so it seemed. Hey, Mary, that's the price to pay. What's she gonna owe on Judgment Day? It's hard to get it back when she thrown it all away. She tried to make it legit, but could never follow through. Now she's back on the streets, cause it's all she ever knew. When she looks in the mirror, she feels so ashamed, but there's only really one person to blame. All she ever wanted was to be loved. Mary and tragedy fit like a glove, like Peggy and Whistle back in 32. She spread her wings and like a bird she flew. Hey, Mary ran away today. She took a bus from Alabama all the way to LA. She was a small town girl with a big city dream, and nothing else mattered, so it seemed. Hey, Mary, that's the price to pay. What's she gonna owe on Judgment Day? It's hard to get it back when she thrown it all away. Hey, Mary ran away today. She took a bus from Alabama all the way to LA. She was a small town girl with a big city dream, and nothing else mattered, so it seemed. Hey, Mary, that's the price to pay. What's she gonna owe on Judgment Day? It's hard to get it back when she thrown it all away.
Hey, all right. That was a fade out, I assume, Dave.
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I thought maybe the Skype was going again. Oh, great song. I like that one. You know who that reminds me of? Just, the part where you talk. It reminds me of that song from the Butthole Surfers, Coming Down the Mountain. You remember that tune?
Funny that it's funny that I either hear that or like Sean Mullins when he did that song, Lullaby. Everything's gonna be all right, because he talked about he talked the part like about Hollywood and things like that, and it was that was actually one of the most challenging things I ever did, was speaking the part, because when you sing, but when you talk, I mean. And the production that the kind of production I get, there's no faking it. You gotta give your best effort, and so that was really tough. But I finally got it. Now it's just like Leroy Miller said. Now it's just gonna be second nature when you sing that song live. It's not gonna be nothing. It's like, because we decided to talk the part right there. He said, "You got to talk the part," because I had talked the part on one of the lyrics that I said, and he goes, "Let's talk the verses and sing the lyrics, sing the chorus."
Well, no, I think it works, because it what it does? It sort of punctuates the story.
Yeah.
When you talk it. Rather, because then people they're not concentrating on the melody. It just punctuates the lyrics and the story much better, I think. What do you think the worst part about being in the music business is?
Well, you have to, you really, really have to be careful out there, because, someone's always trying to, there are some people who try to, con you out of things like that. And I certainly get a lot of emails, about how my career can be changed if I just do this. But oh yeah, by the way, it's a $595 fee, and I think I find a lot of artists get caught in that trap, and they pay these fees and nothing happens. And that's one of the cool things about working with Cindy is, you know, she's real and legitimate, and there's nothing fake about anything she does. She works for her artists, and she goes all out. And one of the things is I wanted to have, I remember I got one, and I said, what do you think of this, Cindy? She goes and look at their network. They have no built network. They have this and that. You know, I can make an email and send it to artists and tell them, you know. And I think that's one thing I don't like about the music business in that sense. And another thing is, you know, the independent music. You know, we started a thing. My friend Jimmy Wilden started a thing called CC Songwriters here, and he got me and Stephen James involved, another singer-songwriter. And one thing I found when I went on tour is that communities bring the music together, and you know, it's also shows that there's more of an alternative than just, you know, the radio, because radio like it was in the 70s or the 80s or even the 90s, you know, I just think it just started going downhill after a while, especially after that whole Napster thing happened. I mean, there are some good artists out there that are signed, but for the most part, I just don't find that, you know, when I discovered a band like Pearl Jam or a band like Guns N' Roses when I was young, you know, I was like, I don't see any bands like that anymore.
Well, I agree with you. I don't think they're there. And I don't think the major labels are signing bands, any kind of rock bands at all now. And I'm not sure why, other than it's cheaper. If they send somebody out like Rihanna with a karaoke machine and a few dancers, think of the cost savings of going on tour with that versus a whole band with equipment, amplifiers.
Yeah.
You know, it just, I think it's right. Exactly. You need 10 roadies to lift all this stuff. Now all you got is like one guy with an iPad that he can plug into the sound system in a big venue, and that's it. They're done. You know, most of it's lip syncing anyways. It's all the show. There's really not any. I don't know. Don't get me started on this one, because it could go on forever about it.
That's things I don't like about the music business, but I also, you know, that's one of the reasons we started this organization here, is because, you know, we want to help educate some of the singer-songwriters out there about, you know, what's legit and what's not legit, you know, because we've all been down the wire, you know, and it's just, I mean, if something sounds too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true. And then, you know, and the other thing is, you know, it's funny, there are some people that still think that the MTV Awards, like something like that, like that's where music's at. And it's not. There's a lot of great independent artists out there playing music and doing a great job.
Now, everything that I see on TV or on, you know, the front cover of iTunes, it has like no interest to me at all. Absolutely none. It's not created music, it's manufactured music. It's a totally different thing than what you and I are doing.
Yeah, exactly.
They just put it together assembly line. You know, I can't tell one from the other. It all sounds the same to me, because they start out with that computerized rhythm track, and that seems to be the dominant sound whenever I hear that kind of music. Even like some of it that I've listened to and tried to analyze it, it sounds like they don't change chords. Like they just stay on one chord through the whole song. Yeah. And all it does is, maybe there's a bass line, and you know, it's just, it's monotonous. If you tune away from it, all you hear is the rhythm. You hear nothing else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you just kind of tune your mind off to somewhere else, but it's still playing, all I hear is a
and the vocal, you know? The vocal manipulation these days is just so bad. I mean, I always see Rolling Stone and like you know, I see you know how they rate Kanye West records so high and how they call him an amazing live performance. But when I saw him butcher Bohemian Rhapsody the other day, I'm like, what is this guy even doing on the stage in front of thousands of people?
I couldn't get that video to play over here. I guess it's banned in Thailand or something. But I read that he did that. And just the idea of him doing Bohemian Rhapsody was enough to make my stomach turn.
Well, he can't even sing. That's the thing. He can't sing.
What did he do, rap it?
Yeah, no, he sang. He sang it, and it was fun. I have friends who worship the ground he walks on. They say he's a genius, and it's like,
oh my God.
And it's like, I'm like, he can't sing. They go, but that's what he's trying to do. He doesn't want to be able to sing. And I'm like, why would anybody not want to be able to sing?
Oh, yeah. I do not sing. I am voice. You know, is he one of those real existentialist or something? Oh, give me a break.
Yeah, I know. So it's like, you know, I'm grateful for bands like, you know, like Ryan Adams and Wilco and artists like that are still out there playing music. You know, I saw Ryan Adams do an ACL taping, Austin City Limits taping, back in October, and he did it just like it was rock and roll. He went up there, played a 70-minute acoustic set, came back out with his band, and I'm talking band, I'm not talking electronic equipment or anything like that, and he played an hour-and-a-half set, and I said, that what reminds me of rock and roll. And it was kind of funny. My friend Rich Foster, who I'm dearly going to miss, he just moved up to Chico, California, but he's been a big advocate down here in the music, as far as taking pictures, recording, and going to, you know, supporting live music. And you know, one of the biggest things is, you know, he always said, man, when I saw Bruce Springsteen and he played for 4 hours, raw energy the whole entire time, and that was just real. He goes, you can't fake that. And when I saw that Ryan Adams show, that's what I was like, that's real. And that's how I always try to do it with my band. We always rehearse, and we always just go from the heart, you know, and we play live, everything's real, we have no backing tracks, we're singing, you know, and that's what's missing today in the music business. All these kids see these idiots on TV, you know, using backing tracks, and it's just like, and they think, oh, that's what I want to be, you know. And I'm grateful to somebody like Dave Grohl to do the documentary Sonic Highways and really show the heritage of music from 8 different cities, you know, and how all these bands evolved, and you know, and he wrote a song in each. They wrote a song in each city for their record, you know, and it's so that's what's real, you know.
Absolutely. And aside from the music changing from real to fake, the other phenomenon that's happened in the music industry is that people aren't buying music anymore. And I know it's a real problem for DIY musicians. I'll give you an example just for my own music. For the past 6 months, I've had, you know, my music is out on everything. It's on iTunes, it's on Spotify or Spotify or however you say it. Yeah. And I've got 700 streams so far for the past 6 months, which amounted to $7.28 that I've been paid so far for my music. Now, in the old days, if that was 700 CDs that were sold at $10 a piece, that would have been $7,000.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, it's a huge difference in the amount of money. $7.28 might get you a McDonald's meal, but it won't get you the supersized McDonald's meal. So what I don't understand is musicians now really have to play live in order to make money. So the venues have got to be paying better than when I was doing it, because when I was doing it, the venues were paying shit. I mean, they were paying there were 4 of us in the band at the time, and we were getting paid like, you know, $30, $40 for the total of us for 4 hours, you know, like $10 a piece. Yeah. So I'm just kind of curious, because I haven't played out in many, many years, but give me an idea of like what a venue is, what's a going rate now for like a 4-piece band? You know, like at some kind of a bar that
just
has
varies,
a stage.
you know. It varies on the club. You know, it varies on the club. As a band, we've gotten paid as much as $600 or $700, but you know, like there's some venues where they'll go, well, we can only offer $150 for a band, and we're band of 4 for 4 hours. That's our budget. So luckily for me, I can do acoustic sets, and I mean I can play all day and night, and I generally bring my drummer along, so we're able to make about $100 a piece, you know. But it's just, I would like to have my band play with me more often, but just sometimes the money is there. I'm not going to waste their time, because, one of the biggest things, that's one of the biggest things we have talked about, meaning me, Jimmy Wilden, and Stephen James out here for CC Songwriters. We actually kicked some idea. We came up with some hashtags, and we were just like, one of the hashtags is not just hits or pay or play. Respect live music, respect originals. We respect originals. Those are our hashtags for what we're saying, because one of the biggest things too is one of the reasons the venues won't play. Like, you could probably get about 400 or 500 from a good venue for a band. Another venue might offer you free food and drinks. And
I've had that one before. And yeah, lots of food.
Yeah, and so it's just like, I mean, there's some deals where I have to take an offer because it's a great exposure thing, but I hardly ever do it. One of the biggest things, that's one of the things, and one of the things about a lot of bands will play for free, and and that's just because they want to play, and they're not up to the level they need to be at. So a venue's not going to hire somebody like me or a Jimmy Wilden or a Stephen James for $500, $600, when they could pay some kids $100.
Well, that was one of the things that Jared and I talked about. He had this great poster on his Facebook about the bullshit line about venues saying, well, you're getting exposure. So in lieu of money, we're going to give you exposure. And we had this whole conversation about how exposure is going to be, is going to pay the electric bill and is going to pay the rent. It was pretty crazy. And I wish I had that poster now, but it was a good conversation.
I saw
Dave. Yeah. Sorry, we're going to run out of time real fast.
That's fine.
I want to get another song in. So which one do you want to play? What You Need or
we should do What You Need.
Okay, tell us about that one.
You know what's funny about that song? I was listening to a lot of Jack Johnson, Donovan Frankenreiter, Ben Harper at the time, and I was having a conversation with my friend, and she was like complaining about her boyfriend, and my line was like, "What you need is something I can't give you. You got to find it for yourself." It was like she still stayed in that situation for years after that. But it was kind of funny. After I recorded the record, she goes, "I really dig that song, What You Need," and I said, "Oh, really?" She goes, "Yeah, that's like my favorite." I never told her it was about her, though, about our conversation that we had. But it's about, what you need is just kind of like, go out and find it. Go out, you got to find it within yourself to make it, happen. Make your life change or whatever it is. It's pretty broad, and one of the things is after I went back and revisited it, Leroy is a funk master. He reminds me a lot of a Lenny Kravitz or a Prince when he sings. And I said, I really want to go funky with this. He goes, I can definitely do that. And, we just threw some 7 chords in and it sounds like a party song, but it's also got a serious message behind it.
All right, well, let's listen to it. Here's What You Need by Dave Martinez.
But I don't know where this is all going. You think about the time
Oh, that was cool. I like that one. One thing, actually, that song, there was part of it that sounded a little like the guy from the Spin Doctors.
Yeah.
It had a little bit of, I don't know what his name was, but what was that song? Pocket Full of Kryptonite?
Yeah, Christopher Barron was the guy's name.
Christopher Barron, okay. Yeah, it had a little bit of that groove that they did, but the problem with them is that all their songs sounded exactly the same. I think sometimes bands get into, I don't know, I think the trick with the band, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dave, but is you've got to find your own style, your own signature sound.
Yeah.
However, you don't want all your songs sounding exactly the same. And it's kind of it's not as easy as it sounds. I mean, the example I'm thinking of is that group Boston from the 70s, where the first album came out and everybody went, wow, because it was like something totally new. Nobody had heard this sound before. And then their second album came out and everybody said, wow, didn't I just buy this one? It sounded exactly like the first album. And then by the third album, they were done. They could never get out of that, that particular style that they were in. But your music is kind of all over the place. I mean, you write in many, many different styles, and I kind of admire that because my music, I tend to get into a rut. Like, I'll write 10 songs in a row that sound exactly like just the Beatles, for example. Then, the next 10 songs, everybody will say, oh, that sounds just like Elton John. And then the next songs will be, oh, it sounds like this one. So I do like a whole bunch of songs that all sound like one similar person or something, and I can't seem to write one and then switch to a different style. I don't know why. Yeah. I get kind of stuck in a rut.
What's crazy is there's two things that happened. It was like Ben Harper wrote a bunch of songs in a different style, in different styles, and that got me to start listening to different styles of music, and one of the things is about feeling it, and then another thing I have on my side is when I work with a producer like Leroy, he'll let me know, well, you already wrote that song. We could still do it, but let's find a way to make it. Let's find a way to not make it sound like this song. Let's make it. Let's push the envelope, and it's crazy. There's a song Blue Sky on my latest record. It's Leroy wrote that song, and his version is like an Allman Brothers type version with big lead singer, big backup singers in the background. And he said, make the song your own. And I just went one night, I listened to Cat Stevens, Beatles. We use stuff like sitar and just a bunch of different type of earthy sounds. And he goes, you made the song your own. And it was just, I always try to find inspiration in other songs without ripping them off. I'm not going to be like a Sam Smith and say, I never heard of Tom Petty. When he knows who Tom Petty is.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, when I first heard the tick that everybody get up now, I thought, oh, well, that's cool. They sampled Marvin Gaye, and then next thing you know, they never sampled Marvin Gaye. They got sued, and and all they really had to do was pay for a sample, and they would have never gotten sued.
Yeah, I know. I just saw something that Justin Bieber and Usher just got sued too, for sampling something. I can't remember what it was, but it's like, it just reaffirms what I feel about music today, that nobody's got anything original. Everybody's just copying everybody else. Yeah. And they're copying the stuff that was good and turning it into shit, basically,
Yeah, I agree. And
I know this is going to sound like a cliche question, and I try to avoid those, on my show, but I really want to ask you this question. So if it sounds cliche, like something you've been asked 1,000 times, forgive me. Where do you want to be with your music in 5 years?
Well, that's a great question. Of course,
Thanks,
it is a great question. I want to be built more. I wanted to get to a point where, I don't have to worry about selling tickets. The tickets just sell themselves. And I want to keep trying to push the envelope with my music and make sure that I put quality records out there. And, we got to start this week. We're doing a show with a guy named Ian Moore at the Cole Park Amphitheater here in Corpus Christi. And I used to watch him play when I was a youngster, and he was a big inspiration. Very talented guy. And then we get to do another show on Friday in Mathis, Texas for the Mathis Cultural Festival. And we're playing with old friends Vallejo from Austin, and we're playing with a Texas legend, Billy Joe Shaver, who's part of the Outlaw Cash and Willie Nelson and Chris Christopherson and Waylon Jennings, and that's, like Cindy said, is huge, that you are moving in the direction that you need to be moving in. And I think by doing that, the more years we get, that those two shows are big stepping stone into the direction we're looking to head into. And with the CC Songwriters, that's what we're trying to build: community and a local thing that fosters being creative and going out there and putting your own music out there. And I hope in 5 years that CC Songwriters is huge and we're able to have a festival every year and a conference, and a retreat and Corpus Christi Awards, and that that I still keep putting out quality music and doing bigger shows, and the audience keeps building up.
Now, are you, at this point, supporting yourself only with your music, or do you have a day job, as it were?
I have a day job. One of the things I was telling you earlier, I saw the music landscape change, and I was in college when I decided to go to college, and I said, well, I've always wanted to teach. So but people think I teach music, but I said, no, I'm a math teacher and a computer teacher. Those are the two things I'm certified in. So the cool thing about being a teacher is that I always have a lot of time. Like, I'm off during the summer and I get to tour, I get to record. I have vacations where I'm off, and I do have sick leave and all that. And I read an article where the biggest asset for the do-it-yourself musician these days is your day job, because you have your health care and you have your sick days and all that. So I do that, and I got a couple other friends who do that. But I do have some friends that basically rely on music, and they play a lot, and I love playing a lot, but if that was the only way to support myself at this point, I'd really have to be up there getting more, to make it happen. But one thing I do with everything I make off of music, I can tell you, I reinvest in making records and going on tours and stuff like that.
All right. Well, Dave, listen, we have out of time. We've got to go. I wish we had another hour to talk to you, but just give a quick where people can find you on the internet, your website or whatever, and then we got to go.
I can be found on davidmartinezmusic.com and reverbnation.com/davidmartinezmusic. Those are my two main sites, and there's also links to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. If you Google me, too, you can find a lot of things. I'm on iTunes. I'm on CD Baby. I'm on Spotify, Beats Music, Amazon, you name it. I'm probably there.
All right, Dave. Well, listen, thanks a lot, and maybe we'll get you to come back on another show, because I'd love to keep talking with you about music.
Absolutely. I appreciate it, Douglas.
All right. Thanks for coming on. Thank you, John Morgan. Thank you, Chad. And we will see you guys next week when my guest is going to be Michael Ritucci of Terrorizing Films. So this is Douglas Coleman saying bye-bye.
when they'll tell you you've got to turn